Hey guys, welcome to another Winemaker Wednesday. The world of wine is so confusing, and it does not help that wine industry professionals use all sorts of crazy terms and terminology. So today, we're going to begin to break that down for you, help you out, and make wine easy to understand. So let's get to it. So the idea for today's topic has been brewing in my mind for quite some time, and actually I've been reading more and more about it in the wine press lately as well. And it's the idea that people like myself, who've been in this industry for 30 years now, use a language and a set of terms and terminology that we're very comfortable with and just roll off our tongue. And when we're speaking to consumers, and some people in the trade as well, oftentimes consumers don't understand what we're talking about. And we just are so comfortable using it that we continue to use it, and we just assume that everyone should know exactly what we're talking about when in fact they don't. And so it's this idea of trying to make wine really simple, really basic. Wine is very special, and it's a bit of an art and science, right? But it should also be easy to understand and not complicated. So that's the idea of this video, and subsequent ones are to break the language of wine and the terms that we use down into really short little video snippets that you can watch very quickly, so that when you find yourselves in various situations, where someone's speaking to you using this language, you will have heard these terms before, and you'll have a basic understanding, an easy understanding of what it is that they're actually talking about. So that's what we want to do here. So what are some of the situations that I'm talking about? Well, I'm trying to put on my consumer hat. I'm really thinking of a consumer that's got a wine weekend coming up, and they're going to go to Napa Valley or Sonoma County or down to Santa Barbara, wherever. They're going to go wine tasting. And you're going to find yourself in a winery listening to a wine ambassador, somebody at the tasting room, who's likely going to talk to you about vineyards, about winemaking, and about tasting. So those are the three areas that I want to talk about, and that's the primary situation that I want to address. And within those three buckets, there's an amazing number of terms to be considered. And there's so much language that is specific to the wine industry. And in fact, some of the words are actually foreign words. They're French words. So it's not even English that we're speaking at the end of the day. Now, we're not going to cover all of them. We're not going to do that, but we are going to create some short videos, 2, 3, 5 minutes max, that you can dig into really quickly, kind of binge watch a few of them if you want to, and then jump into winemaking, binge a couple of those, jump into tasting, binge 1 or 2 of those, and done. You're ready for a wine weekend because you've got the basic terms. So we want to cover off on things such as within the vineyard world, just what is the cycle of the growing season. It's really important to the making of wine, to the taste of it. So we want to understand the cycle of it. We understand the basics of what a vine is composed of, what a vineyard is composed of. Guarantee you that the tasting room person is going to talk to you about this vine or that vine and this trellis and this cane or that shoot, and I'm already confused, right? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about irrigation. There's a few different methods of irrigation, and I guarantee you they're going to speak about that. And these days, they're for sure going to talk about farming methods. And there's a whole series of different types of farming method, from conventional to sustainable to organic to regenerative, right? It just keeps on going. So what do all those things mean when they say to you, oh, our wines are so amazing because they come from this type of farming method, they come from a regenerative farming? What does that actually mean? That's what we're going to talk about here. If you get into winemaking, can get into the cycle of winemaking, we can get into aging, we can get into crush and fermentation, we can get into chemistry. I could spend days talking just about the chemistry of that. We're not going to do that. We're going to take the few terms that I think you really should know when you're going to a tasting room, make really short, simple, quick, easy to understand videos, so that after you watch them, you'll have a pretty good idea of what the wine ambassador is talking about. And finally, last but not least, is tasting. Now, tasting, you may think, is really pretty basic, right? They put some wine in the glass and you go taste it, and you just taste it, see whether you like it or not. Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that. We'll keep it Really pretty simple though. But there are some techniques. If you've never been taught how to taste wine, we're going to cover that. It's the 5 S's. Super simple. We're going to cover off on how to taste wine, what to look for, decide whether you like it or not. But there are also terms within tasting, sweet, dry, tannic, astringent, on and on. What do those terms mean? The wine ambassador that's talking to you is going to use that language, and it will help you to understand their wines if you have a basic understanding of what those terms mean. Also, for you to describe to them what kind of wines you like, there's a few words that would be helpful for you to understand to be able to describe your personal style preferences to a wine ambassador to see if they have a wine that fits your tasting. So we could go on, but let's just get into the videos. All right, well, that's it for this week of Winemaker Wednesday. So those are the 3 areas we're going to cover off on: vineyards, winemaking, and tasting. Again, the goal is to create short little 2 to 4 minute videos with a few terms in each one. You can watch one and move on, or binge a few in each of the categories and be set up for a wine weekend coming up. Or if you're going to a winemaker dinner or a tasting event or something else, just having a basic understanding of a few of these terms will help you enjoy the experience that much more, make you a little bit more knowledgeable, and hopefully take away some of the mystery of the language of wine.